now we're going to come to the foreground. So before I do that, I also want to go back in here. So I added some opaqueness, some shallow highlights, some lightness right here, which kind of took away from my reflection. So I'm going to put that back in. And then use my filbert to blur it. A little darker here. That might need some additional work, but I'm going to let it go and let it dry for now. Okay, now let's move to the foreground, and we're going to glaze over this foreground area with, well, we did glaze over it with Yellow Deep and Quinacridone Gold. Did that all together when I did the land up here. I did it down here as well. We're going to repaint these posts with use some Prussian blue to deepen the raw umber. So let's go into this black mix and maybe a little bit more of the Prussian blue just to darken it. Okay. Got some kind of light places down here from where I mopped away. Paint is okay. Now the tall grasses and the sea oats, we're going to use Yellow Deep and Raw Umber, and then with some glaze medium. I think I might use Cindy's mix. And we're going to use the quill and pull long grasses at the base of these posts. Make sure that you get some curvy lines. If you look on your line drawing, then you will see the lines of design drawn there to help you to find which directions they should go. So let's pull that out real quick. I'm using my small one, but you'll see these arrows showing you which way to make your long strokes. Let's open the Cindy's mix. We're getting down to our final stages now of this painting. And it's really beginning to get a personality. We're using the quill, and we're using Yellow Deep and Raw Umber. So I think I'd like to brush mix that. So I'm going to wet my quill, and I'm going to pick up the yellow deep, bring it over to my palette, and then the raw umber, now I didn't give this an exact mix, so you can mix it to a pleasing color. I'm going to dip it into Cindy's mix and saturate my brush with that. And let's start pulling some of these grasses. And a really light touch. Some of mine over here are too thick, so I'm going to have to redo that. I have a size 3 quill, so it might be easier with a smaller size, but I'm just going to really lift up on my pressure, just barely tickling it. Okay. Now I'm going to blot this one because I want to do that one over again. So I feel like I got too thick there. Okay, and then we're going to move on over, reload, we're going to move on over into this area. Just filling in your foreground with this color, and you also may want to go back over it for some variation with some that are darker or lighter value.
You know the power went out and shit? Just saying.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're just gonna add some grassy areas in the foreground. I'm using the very tip of my quill. And almost no pressure. And I'm going to, now I'm going to go into raw umber and make a really dark value. and come back over randomly. Because I want that value change. I want there to be a variety of grasses in here. You don't want a solid coverage, but you don't want to leave any really big glaring bare spots either. Okay, and then last, I'm going to just go into the yellow deep with a dirty brush and come back and pull a few lighter value stalks. Not too many, because this area of the painting is in shadow. But we need a variety. Keep your paint thin, your quill pointed, and your pressure almost non-existent. And if you need to, pull way up on the handle of that brush, because then you can't put much pressure on, or as much. Somehow I find a way. Okay, and yes, some of it will overlap into the water, and you want that. Okay, now let's move on to stage 3. Oh, to third stage, picture number 5. Oh, and there's a real good close-up if you want to get a smaller liner and put some more details in those. Okay, now we're going over to the sailboats to work on those details. First, I would like to dry what I've been working on down in front here, so that I don't get my arm in it. Much better. My reflections look a little better now that they're dry as well. And you know, you can go back and tweak this a little bit, and I probably will go back with a smaller liner and some darker value of the umber. But let's move on to the sailboats now.